A very good morning to you. It is Good Morning Uganda on this 11th day of June 2026. Budget day it is in this budget month. On the agenda, we're looking at, of course, the budget 2026-2027, and there in opportunities and priorities that come with this budget that is to be read today. My guest is now the usual suspect, Julius Mukunda from CS Bank, but be part of the conversation. But it's important that you as a citizen of Uganda follow the conversation on your budget. 0709-602-592. A very good morning to you, Julius.
Morning. And a good morning to our viewers.
I am soon calling you a co-host. Co-host for Matters Budget.
This is the season.
Indeed, it is indeed. Let's start off, seeing as we're looking at opportunities and priorities, I think we might as well start off with allocations.
Yes.
For this year's budget. What do they look like? What are they?
Yes, of course today is an exciting day. We are going to be gathered in Kororo and listen to the budget speech. Yeah. But as you know, is that in Uganda, actually, this process ended almost towards the mid-May. We had finished the budget process. So a number of things are known. For example, we know that there are some number of good news that, for example, the pay threshold was raised from 235 to 335, which means that more people now, those low-income earners, will not be paying pay as you earn. We also know that the VAT threshold has also doubled to 300 million, which means that if you have a business of 300 million and below, you're not required to file VAT returns, because this was really to ease the burden of small businesses in terms of compliance with taxes. Right. So the other part, of course, is tax amnesty. It has been a waiver on interest and penalties pay principle by June 2027. So those who have been having their tax obligations not met and they had debt with URA, the penalty and the interest on that amount is going to be waived, but as long as you report to URA. Good news too is that we see a lot of money. For example, education will be receiving 6.6 trillion. And I think for me, two most important things stand out in the education sector. Almost $500 billion has been reserved for teacher salary enhancement. You know, our arts teachers were really having trouble because their science teachers' salaries had increased, but for them, their salary had not been increased. So kudos to the government for doing that. The other element is that government is planning to build 116 seed secondary schools to be established nationwide. There is a policy of government that each sub-county should be having a secondary school, and we know that almost half of the entire sub-counties in this country do not have. So we are seeing that, and I think that in terms of access to education, that is going to also happen. We are also seeing in health that issues to deal with the maternal and child health of social medicines, but also most important, we are seeing more than $500 billion Ugandan shillings being allocated specifically for medicines, national medical stores. So we are hoping that we can see a reduction in drug stockouts, because as you know, in some health centers, really, drug stockouts, today you go, tomorrow the drugs are not there. In fact, there are some who you reach there, they just write you the prescription and then you go. We are seeing heavy investment in transport, around 8.7 trillion, and I think for me this is good. We are seeing that Maraba Kampala standard reconstruction, we saw the government trying to bring in bread financing, the Suku bonds, so that people can be able to buy bonds and be able to invest in this in the SGR. The DACA, the district urban access roads money has also been put aside, and of course we saw the president launching the construction of Kabalega International Airport, and we have also put in money for Uganda Airlines, around 280 billion for it to be able to meet its obligations. Now these are some of the investments that we believe that if they can be run properly, we can be able to get returns out of it. Rural electrification, we have a 2.7 billion for energy, and we are seeing money in the rural electrification programs. But I think most important is for an ordinary person to be able to ask themselves that what is in it for me? Because if you are not a big player in this economy, probably might think you are left out. But I think government has also planned for that. It has said, let us also look at the ordinary person. Of course, we still have our 4.4 trillion in terms of funding for wealth creation programs, Emyoga, PDM, Youth Revenue Program, WEP for women. Those monies have been put aside. So let's get prepared and see how we can partake on that. But also remember, there is a provision in this budget that provides reservation schemes. Any contract which is less than 10 million at the district level is meant for community-based organization. In fact, it's very clear. Community-based. You live in the district and you form a community group. You can actually access a contract at the district level. At the national level, you can actually access a contract over 30 million and below, as long as you make sure that that community-based organization is registered with the public PPDA, Public Procurement and Disposal Affairs Authority. Yep. So that's there. You have GROW. GROW is a program that provides soft loans for women businesses, small women businesses, and there has been allocation of 133 billion Ugandan shillings. So for women and women-owned businesses, please, again, I insist that money will not find you in your bedroom. It won't. You must wake up, prepare yourself, have your records right, make sure that your records are up to date. If you don't have an ID, that's one where you are going to get disqualified. Let us pursue and get our IDs and ensure that our records are in place. You can get that money. WEP, Uganda Women Enterprise Partnership Program, has 153 billion to be dispersed, 244,000 women. And this is also specifically for women businesses. There is 33 billion for creative arts. Right, creative industry. You might benefit. Creative art industry.
How best do we position ourselves?
This is a revolving loan that government has put aside. And I think also we heard that they are going to build their own headquarters. Government has already divided land and they are going to build their own headquarters. Why do I like this money? You know, organizing a chivalry is very expensive.
It is.
You need upfront resources to hire a manager, to hire people to organize security. You don't have the money. And yet, if you organize well, actually, Ugandans are fun. They can really attend, and you can actually make money. So this revolving one is going to be put specifically for that, so that you can borrow that money. And you see the good thing for it, you pay the next day. You don't say I'm going to pay next year. No, you pay the next day. You have your chivoro, you set your debt, you pick the money, you organize, it is collected, you pay back.
Right.
You move on. But also I think important is that the headquarters will be a place where the young and upcoming talents can also be able to plan, to be able to train themselves, and then at least you can be able to boost this entertainment industry. So that I like it. Private teachers circles, I think they have also put 20 billion to improve access to affordable credit. And I think you need to understand the role of the private sector in the education of this country. Around less than 23% of primary schools in Uganda are public. The rest is private. Private, yeah. The same with secondary schools. But these are also Ugandans. These are the teachers. These teachers are also Ugandans. But you might find actually there are some of these public teachers in our public school actually go also and also teach in these other schools. So, and we know that payments can actually also be a very big problem. So I think it's important. I support this idea that we need to support this kind of group. They have the circle. The only thing is they really need to sort out their mess. Because this is public money, accountability is really very important. Sure. They need to sort out their mess, put their house to order, their circle in order, strengthen management and oversight to ensure that money doesn't get lost, but also ensure that a teacher in Koboko can access this money. A teacher in Chisoro, not Kampala-based teachers. No, really, that is extremely unfair. We are seeing a agricultural credit facility and the Uganda Development Bank have also been capitalized. When you come to agriculture, we are seeing that we are seeing 41 billion to cover interest on loans for farmers cultivating 50 acres and above. This is money for large-scale farmers. If you have 50 acres of land and you want to start commercial agriculture, there is an interest-free loan that the government has put aside for you. You can go to Power Bank and access that particular money. It is not enough, and this is why probably sometimes I fault the government. You see, this is a game changer. So when you want to buy a tractor to cultivate 50 acres of land, and probably you are going to be given 100, 200 million, it won't be enough. So how many farmers are able to access this money and be able to boost agriculture? Because the big farmers can actually also uptake from the small farmers and add value to their to their products that they are doing. So that is very critical and very important. So we see that 2.26 trillion has been allocated for agro-processing, industrialization. But also in agriculture, I think one of the things that we are seeing that is coming up is that the government is actually now serious about marketing. So each and every embassy in this country is going to get 1 billion. And I am not happy with that. If I was in the government, I would triple that money, because these embassies are our only source of export market. And you will see that, for example, that our exports in this country for the last 12 years increased by 204% to 18 billion Ugandan shillings. So for me, it is an opportunity, it's a gold mine that our embassies can be provided with enough support and facilitation to do 3 things. 1, look for market for our pineapples. Look for markets for our beans, look for market for our onions, look for the market for our agricultural products. You can see the game changer we have done in the dairy industry. We can now export to North America. So just imagine we replicate that to at least 5 or 6 of the agricultural products we have in this country. So it would be a huge change. So that's one, markets. The second one is tourists. We need these embassies to ensure that tourists return here in this country. Right. And also to ensure that FDI also increases. So those are some of the key and very few of what the government is planning for this country. But the only thing I tell the citizens of this country, 3 things you need to do. Number 1 is get prepared to receive the opportunities. They won't find you in your bedroom. Those who don't want to get into the opportunities, it is still your duty to monitor how this money is going to be spent. And I think we have said it here. The president will never visit your health center, neither your MP. Health center is for you. So you must make sure it functions. How? Ask questions of accountability. Why are our doctors not there? Why are our teachers not in school? Why are medicines missing? Those are the things that can help us improve service delivery at the local level. Right.
That is a very detailed, and in case you're just joining us, we are looking at the national budget 2026-2027, opportunities and priorities that lie therein. Mukunda Julius is taking us through, the allocations and the opportunities that come with some of the allocations. Be part of the conversation, 0709 602 592. Do you think this budget is planned to operate on strategy?
Yes, we have a strategy. The government has got a strategy. The government I have known has always been very good at a strategy. If they give you a list of visitors who come to Uganda to learn how we do things, the list is endless. Even you will find out that advanced countries come here to learn how do we do things, how in terms of generating a strategy, how do we do this.
What happens?
The challenge is that we are very good at doing it, but at making it, developing it on paper. But when you go to the ground, things just change completely.
Could that be due to corruption?
It is one of them. Yeah. But I've come to realize actually it is not a major one. It is not a major one. I think one of the biggest challenge, and I think which is going to face this budget in terms of implementation, is that already a huge chunk of the budget is going to debt obligation before even a single shilling reaches the school. So you have almost 40% of the entire budget just reserved for
debt service.
For debt service. So you remain with only 44 trillion really to spend on. So that's one. So we are constrained. So we have very good vision, we have very good plans, but then we are constrained in terms of resources to execute them. So that's one. The other one, I think, is if we are likely to have revenue shortfalls in this ending financial year, I don't know how the numbers look like by the end of June, then that means that we are likely to borrow more. And that is going to add pressure on the already existing burden that we have. But the major, I think, is weak capacity to deliver. You know, when you tell somebody that you've got money and you cannot use it, some people would laugh at you. And it is easy. I mean, even in the civil society organizations, you are given a grant. If you are not really prepared and think through it, you find yourself at the end of the year with balances, and the donor will say, please return that money back. And it is so embarrassing that happens. So imagine at our level, and imagine at the level of government, what is likely to come. So for example, like yesterday, they passed a loan, 168 million euros for majorly for the construction of solar powered systems in Uganda. And they have a target, 427 in 136 districts. So if you don't know the farmers, for example, the beneficiaries, you don't know where they are. You don't know their capacity to contribute to this loan because it's a co-financing. You don't know what they are growing. You will look for these farmers and you will not get them. And the money is there. You have the money, but you don't have the farmers because you never thought through on who are the beneficiaries. And that's where we find the problem. So you find really, even local governments, despite saying that local governments don't have money, I know for a fact that local governments were given resources for recruitment. Even hospitals, given the money for recruitment, these are for hospitals, for recruitment, and the money returned back to treasury. And you ask yourself, you don't have staff. We have unemployed interns here who are fighting. People are on the street every day, but you can't recruit them. Money returned back to treasury. And so you ask, what's the problem? The problem is they waited for the money to first reach on their accounts. And here we are saying you need to prepare. Start the process. There is one chief administrative officer is called Simon Chimoni. He was a chief administrative officer of Chibali some time back. He taught me one thing, how to get prepared on the procurement. He said, for me, I finish the procurement process in 3 months. I only wait for the money. When the money reaches on the account, I just sign the procurement. I don't start procurement because procurement can take almost a year in this country. So there is also that, our ability to absorb even the small resources that we have. The other big challenge, I think, where we fail to execute properly is we need to face it. Climate change is also another big factor in this country. Because as you plan, for example, I know these people are saying irrigation. You might say, oh, probably in the driest spell, that's when farmers are likely to say, oh, I need a pump. But the dry spell doesn't come. It rains and rains and rains and rains, and the farmers say, this irrigation business maybe. Well,
for example, right now we've been told it's a dry spell season, but it will shock you that in July it might rain. So the climate change does not allow us to plan properly. That actually affects implementation. In fact, you might find that you want to construct a road, and it rains heavily for the whole full month, and you'll stand still. So it delays in terms of also of doing that. So strategy we have ATMs. If you look at it, perfectly well designed and very well articulated. But I think when it comes to actual implementation, and that's why I was telling you, in this country we don't lack money. No, we don't. We don't lack money in this country. Our problem is not lack of money. Our problem is spending it. And it sounds like I don't like a joke, but our problem is not really that we don't have the money. Our problem is to spend it. And that's why at the end of the day, we decided to say, now if we can't spend on these complicated projects, now let's spend on other things. Donation. You say, let's give out the money. Dressing and bedding. People start buying new curtains. You just wait. This financial year, every ministry is going to have new curtains. And you wonder why all the curtains wait. Ministries are going to have new furniture. That chair can take more than 20 years to get old.
It's a furniture here, it's wood. It can 20 years to get old, but because why? Those are the easiest things that we can do.
No. Do you think, though, a solution to that would be for government to employ the working strategies or the working culture of the private sector?
Perfect.
Because the private sector, you have targets, you have KPIs. If the KPI is not met and you're appraised,
get out.
Get out.
Just check on our neighbors here. I had a friend who, in the first year, he started complaining about working in the government. I'm like, what's the problem? You're working very well. In the second year, he quit. Later did I know that it's because in the first year, he did not perform well. They gave him a warning. In the second year, he was going to be fired. So he decided to fire himself before they fired him.
Before he was fired.
No, that's a sense of, I need to perform, and which is lacking here. The other part also is, we need to, when we get the practices of private sector in the government, we can save. Let me tell you, you find out that in the next financial year, we are likely to buy like 1,000 tablets. Even more than that. But Department A will buy 3, Department B will buy 4, Department C will buy 5. So there are no economies of scale. So what you need to do is, how many laptops do you want? 10,000. Fine. Get one person to procure all those tablets. For
all the ministries, yes. For all the departments. Instead
of buying that laptop at 3.5 million, you are likely to get a very good price of 2 million.
That's true.
So instead of 1,000, you can actually buy 20, you can double the number. So the economies of scale come in. But in the government, they are not doing that. But I'm glad, because we persisted to raise that the president has actually agreed to that some of these procurement reforms. Say, no. You cannot procure toilet paper in the same way as procuring heavy equipment of a road. It just can't do it. It just can't happen. In this country, procurement takes so long, and the process is so bureaucratic that to get out a project in the system is just a nightmare.
I hope in this new financial year the system changes, the procurement system really changes, that everything is shortened, because at the end of the day, time is money.
Sit, agree, disagree, move on.
I know.
We have the expert, and I'm telling you, we have one of the best trained civil servants in this country. Best trained civil servants in this country. But the system has failed.
Fails them. And that means the system is failing every Ugandan.
Yes, and that's why the debate of foreigners, I don't care. I just want that water point functioning. I just want that health center receiving medicine on time, and my doctors and medical personnel are working. I don't want absenteeism. I want the traffic policemen to be on the road so they can control. I want that. I don't care who the Inspector General of Police is, whether he is from the moon or from planet V. I don't care. All I care is a service. So let us not begin to debate, to put a debate and forget that the end result is a Ugandan receiving a service.
Right. Hi, Akuku Stephen from Ajumani District. My take for the budget is that the allocation of that loan can't be equally planned. There should be strategies for equity. Thank you, Akuku. What would you tell, speaking to Akuku's submission?
I think Akuku is right. We need to apply some equity, and that means that what criteria did the government use to identify the 136 districts? For example, you might find that you have districts that actually their season is far much better than others. Karamoja, which is almost a dry place, I mean, would you want to see more irrigation programs in that particular place? But also is that you want to send this to people who are likely to use it, because again, 74% of the people in Karamoja are below the poverty line. And as such, if you tell them you are going to co-finance, no, few of them are likely to do that. But if you come in the central here, where people really are very much engaged in commercial agriculture, they want to add value addition to their products, they are likely actually to do that particular uptake. So the question of equity becomes very important. We need to make sure that even those districts, the hard-to-reach areas, can actually access some of these services. Not only this alone, by the way, even more other government services. We need to ensure that the criteria being used to deliver these services is equitably addresses issues of equity, but also you ensure that regional balance also takes place. That's very important. Yes.
You did talk about address the issue of local governments, and I followed part of the conversation the day the budget was launched on 1st June, and the civil society indeed emphasized the fact that how come local government is not involved or included in the 10-fold strategy?
We usually forget my friends from local government. Even I remember even the Public Finance Management Act we have, it had forgotten the local government completely, as if they don't exist. But I'm glad that there is a very active PS.
Yes.
Ben is very, you can cut his blood and the word local government is going to come out of him. He has really defended local governments. And I'm hoping that the new political leadership at the local government can actually also be able to deal with that. What is happening at the local government? For example, this project, I look at this irrigation project, 126 districts. Has this project provided indicative planning figures for the districts so they can put it into their budget? Or this project is going to be headquartered at the Ministry of Water or at the Ministry of Agriculture? And that's what we have been fighting. Money meant for decentralization stays in Kampala. For heaven's sake, if you are going to bring money to my district, tell me the amount, I put it in the budget. In that way, we can increase public financing to local governments. In that way, we can increase ownership of some of these particular projects. But our local governments are still really, the staffing levels are extremely so bad. Some of them are at 10% staffing levels. Some of them are at 30, average is around 40%. So you need a really serious strategy on how to increase local government financing. There is something the new minister has said, and I just love that, and I wish they could allow him to do it. In local government is the only place where people are permanent and pensionable on one post. You are a finance officer of Katakwi district until you die. You will never be changed. And I think that has contributed to a lot of complacency,
yes,
a lot of corruption, to the level that actually you find that a finance officer, when the chairman begins he just keeps quiet and say, by the way, you are not likely to come back anyway, and I will continue doing this particular work. So there must be some kind of rotation among these civil servants, especially at the local government level, so that we can actually have enhanced service at the local government level. The same thing is being done at the national level. Accountants are changing all the time, internal auditors are changing all the time. We are seeing the president shuffles permanent secretaries, you know, all the time. Now that we have finished the ministers, we are waiting for the list of RDCs are changing all the time. Yes. Now we are also waiting a new list for the permanent secretaries. So you see that particular change, and that change creates, you know, this is how it improves service delivery, because you have accountability. Accountability, because a new person comes in, and then that's how things happen. When I remember when the late Keith Makanizi was taken to OPM, wow, there was a dramatic change on how services were being delivered in that place. So yes, I really want to see that happening. All right,
be part of the conversation. We're looking at the national budget 2026-2027, opportunities and priorities that lie therein and the detail that comes with it. 0709-602-592. We have this conversation with Julius Mukunda from CS BAG speaking with us, and some of your comments coming through. Someone else says, is there room for teachers' salary enhancement and the hard-to-reach allowance for such districts like Kasese? This is Baluku Joshua. Julius, actually, you just read the allocation.
Yes.
And salary enhancement for teachers, something that was...
568 billion Uganda shillings for teachers' enhancement. So we are not likely to hear any more strikes of teachers. But I think what the biggest challenge is that we tend to firefight. And that's the same thing with the interns, the intern doctors. We tend to firefight some of these challenges. We need a salary commission to deal with salary issues. An independent salary commission, it will wake up there depending on the forecast and the macros that we have. They will decide and say, the salaries for this next financial year is this, period. Harmonize. You can't have one person having 40 million, another one earning 1 million, and they're almost at the same scale.
And the one of 1 million is working more.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, really, I think that's that's firefighting. So we started with teachers, and now we are dealing with the arts. I'm very sure that the drivers, Uganda Drivers Association, are likely to come up and say, Do you know how much we pay a driver in the government? 250,000 shillings. So Uganda Drivers Association... 228,000 Uganda shillings. That's a salary for drivers.
Per month?
Yes, per month. So you are likely to find that the Uganda Drivers Association will come up and say, now we also need more salary. Then they will say Uganda Secretaries Association. They will do. So we need to have a harmonized salary structure for this for our country, and people need to understand how they can be able to be to get better salaries. So that, and the issue of interns, I think it's very critical and very important. 15 years ago, the government of Uganda realized that we don't have enough medical personnel, professionals. We don't have the right nurses, we don't have the right people working in the theaters, people working in labs. We didn't have 15 years ago. And the government said, let us liberalize the medical profession. Schools were opened everywhere, private medical schools were opened, so that we can increase the enrollment. But somebody slept on the job. When you increase the enrollment, you decide on how we are going to improve the recruitment.
Sure. But
for all that year, the recruitment was frozen, including for medical professions. Now these people graduate and they have nowhere to be employed. The medical interns profession is extremely different from other internships because they deal with human beings. So you need to plan on how you can facilitate them to finish their profession. Otherwise, they will start practicing on mangoes and oranges. So it's a very serious business. So I think somebody slept on the job,
right,
in terms of how we should plan to ensure that they finish their profession, and probably also not only serve us as a country, but also serve other countries.
And right now,
and you can't tell me we don't have 28 billion. No. The Speaker's office has got a budget of 24 billion. The donation budget is 130 billion, more than that. You can't say we don't have that money. We do have it. That's what I'm saying, that it's now we begin to spend on easy things and we forget the most critical things. That
and now that, of course, as PSST mentioned, that some of the spends we've been putting our money at will be cut off, one would wonder how best shall now the money that's not going to be used in, for example, national celebrations, where will it be put to use, strategically put to use?
No, I mean, you have medical interns. So if you have 26 billion on official ceremonies and celebrations for a year, and you have it for 5 years, you are talking about like 130 billion. These interns only need 28 billion to be able to have their welfare improved. And therefore, I think for me is, it's not only saving on that. There are so many other savings we can make and deal with these very critical expenditures that can help us actually deliver this budget. Because even if we spend so much on building health centers, building schools, putting theaters, and we don't have the manpower, the resources needed to run them. That's why the Water John is telling you that certain health centers, theaters are not functioning because they don't have the specialists to run them. You have a surgeon, but one person cannot operate.
Everyone.
He needs a team of people who can operate. So we need to hold some look at the value chain in the medical profession and ensure that for us to be able to deliver this, then everything must be in place. Right.
Good morning. Of course, someone is here talking about the issue of medical interns. This is Emma. 2026-2027 budget has nothing to do with Ugandan's development. Either it is serving personal gains. This is because almost 70% of is going to debt servicing and salaries. Someone else comes through and says, what opportunities could be in having many leaders, political and administrative, at different levels?
I think that's a very good one, and that's why we're saying that how many leaders do we need to manage us? You have the president, a team of cabinet members, you have members of parliament, then you have the LC5 chairperson, then you have the district council, then you have the sub-county council and the chairperson, then you have the parish council, then you have the village council. We are one of the most highly represented people in the entire world. So can we reduce? And that goes with expenditure.
Yes,
it goes with the expenditure. If you have a chairperson of the district, he will need the car, he will need the bodyguard, he will need an assistant. And that is even very modest. But just have my minister here and you see. Some of them will have even a lead car ahead of them.
And the other time there was a conversation on the floor of Parliament as to if MDAs were rationalized, then what's the point?
No, but we made some savings. I saw a number of around 500 billion. I saw a saving, but it did not reach the 1 trillion that we are looking out for. But I think the challenge was that we did not manage the rationalization properly.
Right.
Because the Auditor General actually came up and said that you did not have to pay people their pension and gratuity if they are continuing, any compensation, if they are continuing working with the government. Because government has transferred you from one department to another. It is the same government. He has transferred you from one department unless you leave government. But we went and compensated the people. And yet they still continue working with the government. So I think there was some kind of mismanagement of the process, but I think the process should continue so that we can able to save enough resources. There are certainly here some tough news also that we need to look at, because in taxation, fuel was increased to 200 shillings, yes. Cooking oil to 400 per litre. So if you're eating a chapati this time, or chikomando, you know, the price is likely to shoot up after. So
chikomando ordinarily, sorry, a Rolex has been at, say, 2,000. Okay. So that means it's going to be a Rolex of 2,500.
They can add a 100 on it now. So when they add a 100, don't complain. Sugar at 200 per kilogram, I think that's another hit, because sugar is not what we only put in a tea, but it's an ingredient for so many things. Yes. And one of the things that was connecting it was the bakery business. And you know how bakeries, this business, they are on phones. You know, you have your niece who starts a bakery system and they put everything on phone. So you want a cake, they send to you, so the cost. Motorcycle registration, 200 to 500. So if you're planning to buy a motorcycle, buy it before the financial year ends, because after that the price has tripled by 150%.
What do you think these mean for Ugandans? I was watching MPs yesterday give their 2 cents on what this actually means for Ugandans in having their money. And it meant that the cost of living is going to be high. It meant that Ugandans, generally their spending habits will have to be reduced because of the tax burden that is obviously going to get to an ordinary Ugandan in order to finance the budget.
Yeah, let's be honest. If you put a tax on fuel, it's going to be borne by the consumer, not the company. No way. They will just add it because they pay to government. They will add it. They will add it on
the consumer. Yes.
So probably if you are buying, if you have been using, 10 liters a day or 2 days, definitely you need to top up now to do that. But my biggest challenge is that the same people, you are the same person paying all of these taxes. Exactly. Because some people are not yet in the taxation bracket. Even we have a payroll of 5 million people on the tax payroll, on the tax register. Only 2 billion are actually active taxpayers. And all of these new taxes are on them. Not
on that 2 million.
On the 2 million. Because you are the one who buys fuel, because you are the one who has the car. You are the one who is going to buy the cooking oil. You are the one who is going to buy the sugar. I don't know if you are the one also the one who is going to do betting. So that could be something else. Right. But you are likely to be also the one to build, because cement.
Of course, yes.
The tax has also, they have also added some more taxes. So you still be the same. So the burden definitely, the burden definitely increases. You see, these rates I wouldn't mind, but if they could be commensurate with the services on the ground. Because in some countries you find somebody is paying almost 60% of their income in the taxes. They don't care. The streets are clean. The streets are lit. The medical department is at its best. You fall sick, the people, every doctor on planet Earth is on you. Your children go to school and you are not worried that they are going to, you are not worried that they are likely not to study. No, you know that they are going to study and they are going to complete. When you have a child who has a problem with disability, the state takes care of that. You wouldn't mind. But here, despite all of these heavy taxes, the burden that you pay, you still find yourself, you have to take your kid to a private school, a private nursery school. The roads, the potholes are a menace. You still have to go to the garage and fix it almost every month. Then now you have to pay more fuel. Now,
medical access.
So it becomes a challenge. If we could really improve on the service delivery, it could be a very good justification that we are paying for this and it has been delivered. If these loans were performing for us, for example, we wouldn't be complaining about the debt burden, Because we know when you borrow responsibly and execute the programs on time and on budget, you have the returns. If that road of Busega Mpiji was there, we would not be having that traffic jam on Busega. No. If the road here on Kampala Express Highway 10 years ago, we started that conversation, was finished, you would not be complaining of traffic jam on Mukono Kampala here, because a distance that would take you only 15 minutes can take you an hour to reach town. So that's the dilemma, and I think government is here, we challenge it to see how can we reduce that, how can we improve efficiency and effectiveness.
Do you see some of these things change in Chisanja No Sleep?
Chisanja No Sleep, I'm seeing the president this time, the mood has changed, the tone has changed, and that's what I like. And I'm also seeing that he's looking at the big fish, because really Parliament was untouchable, but he has demonstrated that actually he can touch anything. We are seeing him going to the veterinary department, to be able to look at it. And we are asking him to go more, to go further. Me, actually, I don't believe this. The moment we get the big fish, the small ones will run away.
Will align.
The small ones will align and run away. So the only thing is let people have a fair trial, let go through the right process, let make sure that we investigate properly, because when a person is wrongly accused, his reputation damage is unrepairable. It can't come back. And you want justice for anybody.
That's very true. Allow me get into more of the comments that we do have. Good morning. For as long as accountability isn't taken seriously in this country, the national budget will always have little impact. If the first phase of the solar power project budget was fully funded over and yet it's not complete to date, to me there's no trust that the loan budget of yesterday will make meaning. Thank you, Florence Amoni, for being on the show. Thank you, Mr. Mukunda, for the information on allocation. Is it possible for a procurement team at whatever level to sit and discuss procurement in a week and have the PLOs approved without going into months and years? Thank you. This is Brenda Ojara. And again, you come again and say, I'm thinking about the cars, furniture and equipment that get old and are parked in the backyard of government facilities. Yes. How can government quicken disposal of these items? Many are getting spoiled, yet could be bought off by citizens. How about the furniture that ministers and MPs are putting away? What will happen to them? Thank you. This is a very pertinent procurement insight in there. And Robert from, okay, you didn't put from where, but you say thank you for the program. For guys, for sure, some people sleep on job. There is a road construction from Chigombia towards Mbalala, not even 1 kilometer. It has taken almost 2 years. People are dying of too much dust, and no one is caring. All right. And Namonyo Silas from Bali City says, actually, Ugandan budget is a service award budget, especially for ministers, advisors, MPs, and RDCs. And this is Okori Emmanuel, District Councillor, Bukatube, Sub-County in Mayuge District. All budgets are the same, be it national or local government budgets. More is on salaries, allowances, and loans. Less is on capital investments. Ugandans should not expect anything positive apart from the negative side tax increment. And again here, Akuku Stephen says the issue should address properly. I wonder what you mean, because the work are all the same and you can't say sciences. I think that the issue of teachers is what you meant. Yeah. Yes, they work all the same, sciences and arts teachers are best. Government should change mind of differentiating civil servants. Equity is important, and government should know that should not equally pay. I mean, maybe pay equally people per unit or something like that. And you say like fuel by now in a Germany fuel is at 6,990. Wow. Good morning, Uganda. Asking Director, what about local government leaders' salaries increments? Honorable Nambozo, Martha, Bujiri District. Thank you, Director. I will visit your office. And good morning, Uganda. Okay, you say it again. Thank you, Honorable, for being on the show. And one final one for now. Good morning, Uganda. Number one question, direct and clear. Mr. EDCS Bag, you said CBOs can get government contracts if registered with PPDA. One, which contracts in 2026-2027 budget are reserved for community-based organizations? Number two, what's the number one challenge CBOs face after PPDA regulation, and how is CS Bag solving this? Question number two, grassroots impact. Many CBOs are district registered but don't know PPDA EGP. For the financial year 2026-27, how will government make PPDA registration plus bidding simpler so rural CBOs can compete, not only Kampala farms? Question three, money and accountability. If CBOs get this, work plus no misuse of funds at parish level. This is all right. Well, you reference again to question one, and you say that this is, okay, you say you're pretty Kathy Kiondo, Industrial City Division Mbale in Maluku Ward, who has shared these questions. Thank you so much for being on the show. Over to you, Mr. Idi, speaking to the
I'm not a honorable. I'm still not a Ugandan. I think many of them are comments, and I think thank you so much for these comments.
Right.
But especially, I think what attracted me one is the PPDA reservation scheme.
Yes, yes.
And again, it's the challenge of government communicating. You know, my work of engaging government, especially Minister of Finance, I've found so many good things that they're just shelved. Because this reservation scheme for me would have been a very huge program to educate the masses about it. Because if you are a CBO, a small and medium enterprise in a district somewhere, this money is meant for you. In fact, you can demand, in fact, you can even go to court and challenge the district for having awarded the contract to a Kampala-based company, but not you.
Right. Because
by law, you qualify as long as you put your books and documents in order. Because also, if you have a CBO in Mbarara, and all the director, and one of them that it should be women, you know, a woman led, and all the directors come from Kampala. Really, now that one also changes the equation. So I think, to me, that is very critical and very important. But we are going to engage PPDA to see how we can really expand this information and knowledge, and people can benefit from it. Contracts are so many. Government does not produce many things. Government does not print books, so they need stationery. Government does not clean its own offices. They will hire a company to do that. Government, you know, they procure chairs, they procure the curtains we have been talking about. So many things. They even buy food, sumbusas. You can actually win a contract at the district level to provide them with cassava and sumbusa and tea. Because they don't, and they have money for that. So go to a district and be able to get that particular information. The other part that has touched me around asset disposal. It is shocking when you go at the district level, or if you got the Ministry of Works here, and you see those Mercedes-Benzes and BW cars packed and getting rust.
Yes, sir.
Simply because the tires were old, or it has just a small mechanical problem. That even happens at the district level. A car, the tires are old, it is packed, and they prefer to buy a new one. So we've said really that we need to have a mechanism of ensuring that these assets are sold. But the response we have had from the district is quite a funny one. They said that the process of evaluating is more expensive than the value of that particular car. So they are like, we don't have money to put in the evaluation process, and yet we know we aren't likely to get the money out of this item.
Right.
So I ask myself, don't we have enough expertise in the district, at the district level, to do valuation for their products? So, and those are the simple things we talk about. If it was on a business perspective, you don't need to fly somebody to get somebody from here, Kampala, to go to the district to do valuation for assets that are supposed to be disposed. No, we should be able to
that's why I'm pleading to Your Excellency, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, to employ private culture, private sector culture, into government systems.
Into government systems.
It's very, very necessary. Now, the Ugandan opposition MPs, of course, also did introduce their own alternative budget, and that was accounting for 71.4 trillion Uganda shillings. What statement do you think that makes versus what Parliament passed of 84.3?
Even if sort of organization provided alternatives, well, now we can spend this money. But I think for me is, you look at where you can save money, and then you are able to say, I would not be spending on these items. And if you start that from that line, in fact, if you start from the line of zero budgeting, let's start afresh, you can actually save money. Because one of the things you'll find out is that government has got a chart of accounts where they say this item, there is item on travel abroad, travel inland, beddings, ceremonies, workshops, special meals. So when you give somebody this chart and say, please feed it, they will start putting in their numbers, whether they want it or not. But if you start zero budgeting and say, we are starting afresh, what do you need? That financial year, people will not ask for curtains. No. They will be able now to look at critical items needed for them to deliver on their mandate. That's why you'll find out that first expenses, the critical ones will come first, and the less critical ones will come later. And by the time the less critical ones come, the money is already finished. And that's why you are likely to find that particular saving in the budget. So, for example, one of the if you are leading a delegation to attend a United Nations meeting, you are likely to find that you have like 50 government delegations. But in New York, we have a permanent mission in New York. So probably you need like 5 people to leave Kampala, join the people in New York, and we shall deliver our statement. Right. So you save on that one. Look at the ceremonies. We celebrated Heroes Day in the State House. You can imagine how much money was saved. If this Heroes Day, just imagine, was taken to Guru, how much you would spend. You would see how many vehicles are heading to Guru. The fuel itself, let me tell you, you just don't want to get that number in your head. But here in Kampala, in the State House, on TV, unless you charge the president free airtime. Even if you charge him, even if you charge the president money for broadcasting it live, it won't come to the billions that we spend on this. Yes, it won't. It doesn't. So those are some of the things you find that you can actually make savings. But you need to take those painful decisions so that you can both move.
Very well indeed. Now our time is fast spent. Sad, always sad, because while the conversation is still ongoing and more interesting, time limits you at that. But what are your parting shots on this budget day?
My parting shot is, there is somebody who said that everything is wrong. No, not everything is wrong in this budget. There is much more good in this budget that we talked about. Listen to the budget speech today. Get opportunities that are there. Go home and prepare yourself and tap on these opportunities. If we don't, then these corrupt guys are going to, and these corrupt guys, they are ever prepared. They'll get prepared and take all your money. Somebody's going to start generating like 20 circles in 20 districts, and all the money will go to them. So the second thing is, be an active citizen and follow where the money is. Monitor all the health service delivery units and services in your area. If there's a problem with it, be active. Call your MP, call your leader and tell them this is not working and functioning. And that is the only way we are going to benefit from this budget. But if we all sit and relax and think everything is going to find us in our bedroom, I can assure you, we are the losers, not the government.
Very profound at that. Someone comes through and says, this is a pretty Kathy Kiondo, Industrial City Division, Mbale, Maluku Ward, says, I'd also like to take this opportunity through your office to request CS-Bug to stretch further to Mbale City and enlighten us on most of these things. People sleep on job, they don't preempt to the public what we don't know. I'd like the ED to share his contacts. All right, we'll ask him to get in touch with you at the best convenient manner so that you engage. This morning, Mr. Mukunda, once again, thank you. This one says, I'm a co-director of a limited company with 50% of shares. Can I qualify for growth funding?
As long as you are a woman-led organization.
Yeah, a woman-led organization.
Yes.
Very, very true. Thank you very much for being on the show. Brings us to the end of this conversation. UBC will definitely be bringing you live the events of the budget reading today from Kololo. So be part of it. Stay tuned and watch the event. Listen to the budget. As Mr. Mkunda has said, you will be able to find the opportunities as to how best the budget can serve you there. In as Uganda, and as the economy grows, you are also growing. Ending it here for God and my country. Good morning.
Good morning.
Of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years. Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together,